Welcome to week 4 of our blues journey. This week is all about the legends who shaped the blues. We're going to dive into the styles of some of the most iconic guitar players so that we can incorporate their techniques into our playing. The blues scale is only 6 notes. How you play these notes is entirely up to how you want to express yourself. I found a really cool clip of one of the greats, John Meyer, expressing how you play your notes is unique as a fingerprint. Check it out.
When it comes to blues guitar, every player bends a note differently. It's literally as unique as a fingerprint. T-Bone Walker bent the note like this. You call it stormy Monday, Tuesday's just as bad. And then B.B. King came along, and B.B. King did. And then Albert King came along and went. Need to go. Woo! Albert King is the reason guitar players break high E strings. It was muscular, it was intense. It's why the guitar face was invented. You bend that note with every ounce of energy you have, and if you lose your face in the deal, so be it. Albert's playing could go from stately and composed to down on his knees begging, please. Albert holds those bends either with one string, or if he's really making it cry, with 2. It's like a surfer riding at the top of a wave, or a skateboarder grabbing the top of the half pipe with his feet over his head. It just kind of stops time and catches air. Jimi Hendrix did it in Machine Gun, Eric Clapton did it on Strange Brew, and Stevie Ray Vaughan did it most faithfully on David Bowie's Let's Dance. Yeah. Every blues-loving guitar player knows how to plug that Albert King thing into their solos. He just got to the essence of what he wanted to say and stayed right there.
What I love about this clip is it illustrates how dramatically different 6 notes can be played. So it's up to you on how you combine techniques, tone, touch, dynamic, and feel to tell the story you want to tell. First, we're going to take a page out of B.B. King's playbook and learn about vibrato and string bends. We'll look at these techniques and how he used them to make the guitar sing. Vibrato is used to add dissonance to the notes that you're playing so that they have more expression and feel. If you were to take one note in the blues scale and begin slightly bending it up and down at different speeds, you can start to experiment with vibrato. Start out bending the string slow, and then you can move up to bending it quickly. The speed is completely up to you. It's all about the story you're trying to tell. Next, you have bends. The first one we're going to cover is a half note bend. For this exercise, we're going to put our ring finger on the 7th fret of the G string. And what we're going to do is we're going to bend this note to this note, which is our blue note. You can bend the note up. You can bend the note down. With vibrato, you're not technically bending it to a specific note. But what's really important is that you're bending it till it's in tune with that note there. If you're having a difficult time bending it with accuracy at first, it's okay to use 2 fingers at the same time. I'm placing my middle finger on the same string behind my ring finger to give it some added extra strength. Next, you have your whole note bends. This is where you're bending one note to 2 frets higher, or a whole note. For the whole note exercise, we're going to start on the B string on the 15th fret right here. And rather than bending to this note, we're going to bend to the note E. So we're going to be doing this inside of our E minor blues scale. And we're going to bend this note D to E. For this one, we're going to use the same trick to use 2 fingers to bend it all the way up to this note here. Next, we're going to go into harmony or unison bends. Working off of our previous exercise, this note here, E, on the B string of the 17th fret is the exact same note as 12 on the E string. So what I'm going to do is play both with my pointer finger on the 12th fret of the E string and my ring finger on the 15th fret of the B string. I'm going to bend the 15th fret of the B string to the same note as this finger here. Notice I'm using my middle and ring finger together to have enough strength to keep my pointer finger completely still, let this note ring out while bending these 2 fingers up almost underneath these 2 strings to get the note correct. As you come back down, it's important to not lift your fingers up or you'll get that sound. So as you bend them up, slowly bring your fingers back down or you'll get this nasty sound we talked about. And you'll actually end up playing these notes when you don't want to. I'm using my middle and ring fingers to play the 15th fret of the B string, which is the note D, and I'm bending D to E. When you're bending one note to match another note, it's called a unison bend. When you're bending 2 notes in the same scale, it's a harmony bend. For this, we're going to put our middle finger on the 14th fret of the G string and keep our ring finger on the 15th fret of the B string. I'm going to bend this finger to our blue note. Now let's put all of these techniques together. Half note bend, vibrato, unison bend, harmony bend, vibrato. For our half note bend, we're going to put our middle finger on the 14th fret of the G string. We're going to bend this note, A, to this note, a couple bonus tricks that you can try is keeping your finger above the strings just to deaden them while you're doing the bends. That way, this string, when I bend into it, isn't playing a note out like that. As you bend, you want the finger that's bending to bend the string under the string on top. You'll notice the D string is moving just a little bit, but it's not playing a note. Next, we're going to learn how to fatten our chops with double stops in the style of B.B. King, Lightnin' Hopkins, and Robert Johnson. This trend was popularized by Eric Clapton in the 60s and carried on by Stevie Ray Vaughan into the 80s. Dyads, or 2 notes played at the same time, or commonly referred to as double stops. Double stops are a great way to add grit and feel into your playing. Combining double stop with bends and vibrato is essential to blues. To get this sound, I'm playing with my pointer finger on the 5th fret of the G and the B string. Then I'm using my ring finger to bar the G and the B string on the 7th fret. And then I'm bending down with both fingers for the strength that I need to get the vibrato and the half bend. And then you can slide up to get that finishing note. This is a more advanced exercise to help you break out of just the pentatonic box using double stops and expand it across the key. It sounds like this. First, you'll need to learn the shape. Pointer finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, then you're playing the major blues scale walking down. 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 7th frets. Then on the D string, you're playing 5 and 7. G string, you're playing the octave of the first shape you played, which is 5, 7, 8, 9. Next, you're playing the octave of what you played on the D string, which is 8 and 9 on the B string. On the high E string, you're playing the 8th fret, the 10th fret, the 11th fret, and the 12th fret. Altogether, it sounds like this. Those are the root note positions of all the shapes you're going to play. And then you're adding in dyads, or double stops. The first sequence, you're doing thirds. Thirds meaning you're playing the root note and the 3rd note above your root in that same scale. So we're playing C and E together. We're taking that shape and playing it through the chromatic section of the blues scale. Next, with your ring finger on the 5th fret of the A string and your pointer finger on the 3rd fret of the D string, you're going to play this shape and keep it as you slide up with your ring finger on the 7th fret of the A string. It sounds like this. The next sequence, you're going to bar the D and the G string on the same fret and play the 5th fret and the 7th fret. So far we have. Next, we're going to play that same pattern on the G string and the B string. We're back to thirds. We're barring the 5th fret of the G and the B. Then we're doing our 3rd shape right here. On the G string, I have my middle finger on the 7th fret and my pointer finger on the 6th fret of B. Then we slide that shape up chromatic. So far we have. Next, we play this full triad where on the G string we're playing the 9th fret, pointer finger on the 8th fret of the B and the E string. Then we're doing this 6th shape. For this, we have our middle finger on the G string on the 10th fret, our ring finger on the high E string, so we're skipping over the B to play these 2 notes together. And if you'd like to, you can hybrid pick or use your pick for the G string and your middle finger to pick the high E string. Then you're just sliding up. Once you get here, you just play the exact same shapes backwards, working to C. Next, we're going to look at more modern techniques like combining bends and slides to make really simple sequences sound much more interesting. For this technique, you do a half bend and then you slide to the same note you just played in the bend. This week's assignment is to get really comfortable with these techniques, start incorporating them into the blues scales that you learned last week, and record yourself doing it so that you can watch from a different perspective and to see how your playing is coming across. Remember, it's not just about playing the correct notes, it's about making your guitar sing and tell a story. That's it for this week. We'll see you in the next lesson when we dive into the nuances of dynamics, touch, and tone. Keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next lesson.